As 2011 is coming to a close, we want to send you a special Christmas greeting here from the European Parliament, where, as you can see, people are packing their bags and getting ready to go home for a vacation and come back again in 2012. 2011, of course, has been a very special year for the European Coalition for Israel. Early on in January, we were co-hosting the Holocaust Remembrance Day here in the European Parliament. On Jerusalem Day, the 1st of June, we were hosting a special conference here in the European Parliament where our good friend and international lawyer Jacques Gauthier was presenting the case for undivided Jerusalem. On June 1, Jerusalem Day, you were hosting a conference where we were looking into the status of Jerusalem. Do you have any reflections looking back at that seminar?
Well, it was very interesting, actually, because it was a seminar which wasn't there to, if you like, have a sort of an emotional or political kind of debate. It was a seminar where we brought experts, particularly legal experts, to talk to us as objectively as they could about the whole question of title to Jerusalem, the nature, the history of Jerusalem, and where it might place itself in the future. And I think that there was very little doubt in their mind, and certainly I think the audience came to certainly a very clear conclusion that some of the claims on Jerusalem have been misplaced, and that from an Israeli perspective, they should be able to retain some confidence in their rights regarding Jerusalem.
In November, we had our annual conference, and this year the theme was the Arab Spring, and we had members and EU officials debating and discussing what would really be the final outcome of the Arab Spring.
In November, we were having the conference of European Coalition of Israel here in the European Parliament, and I was hosting it. And during that conference, we had a very good speeches about the changes, what's going on now on the area as a whole. And I think that what was one of those main issues was that there won't be any democracy if we don't have a grassroots civil society where the democracy can be built up. And so I think that if we are here now having this kind of disillusion that there will be automatically democracy in the Middle East area, we really are having a totally wrong picture, because it requires civil society, it requires democracy built on civil society, and it requires those parties, those politicians who are respecting the rules of democracy and rule of law.
The Arab Spring, as we call it, probably could continue in an Arab autumn. Don't know. But we know there are forces among these nations. They are very fundamentalistic. They do not accept Israel. So we have to continue being there and emphasize that Israel has the absolutely right to live behind secure borders.
Well, I think it's been a rather patchy period because, of course, we have seen the so-called Arab Spring, the changes in the Middle East, the overthrowing of a number of dictators, changes in several countries where they have purported to move towards democracy. We all know that Israel is the democracy of the Middle East, and therefore, presumably from an Israeli perspective, that is not so alarming. But it is actually very destabilizing what has been going on, and I think therefore it has been very important for the EU to amend and change its approach to the Middle East, bearing in mind the emergence of these countries in a new form, and how that will affect the peace process and how the EU should be involved in encouraging the peace process.
NGO funding and the role of EU in the Middle East. Do you have any comments on that?
Yes, I mean, we've expressed concerns for some time about money going from the EU, going to NGOs, going to organizations, where that money is not being spent for the purposes for which most people here would have intended it, i.e. for peaceful processes, for education of the right kind. We think money has been getting into the hands of people who have been promoting further terrorism, promoting violence, promoting anti-democracy rather than democracy. And I remain very concerned about that, and I think the last year we have seen a number of instances, and I'm afraid it is continuing.
ECI, of course, has also been very active this year at the United Nations in New York and educating and advocating for a negotiated solution to the conflict in the Middle East and trying everything we can to prevent a unilateral declaration of a Palestinian state. This is something that we will continue to do in 2012, and with your help and prayer and support, we can have an influence also in these European institutions.
2012, probably these both issues would be still going on. We are following what are the consequences of Arab Spring, and then we are following that what's happening in UN with the unilateral declaration, and of course that what European Union is going to do when it comes to relation with Israel. I think that here we should be supporting the only democracy which is now in the area, which is Israel, and so I think that that would be the most important declaration what the European Union is going to give, that we are supporting Israel in this kind of situation.
So in closing, I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year 2012. We will continue to report from Brussels, to do our utmost to get our messages across here at the European Union. And with your help and support and prayers, we hope that 2012 will be even more fruitful and successful than ever. Thank you.
For the year 2012, I would like to wish you very happy New Year and God blessings.
I really hope that you continue and lift up the message from God, from our Lord, and don't forget that every single human being all around the world has the same rights, and we fight for the values of democracy and human rights issues. Thank you, and have a nice Christmas.
I would like to wish our viewers all the very best for Hanukkah and indeed for Christmas.